What's going on, everybody? This is Lady Luck. All right, we're doing it. We're finally getting down to the depravity that is Keith McChicken Nugget Price, aka McFrosty the Hamburglar, and all in between. You all know him very well as the goon that sat here and kissed the ass of Super Stupid for however long, for reasons unknown, as a food assistance pantry manager of some sort. Food pantry manager, I don't care what his job title was. What it did not involve was him having lawful legal access to financial records because no board approved for him to be any special assistant or financial manager of anything at Thornton Township that would even give him legitimacy to be able to go into a financial system to even look up financial data, especially dealing with the general fund. So, with any level government entity, based on your job description, your job title, you get certain clearances to access certain parts of the database or the financial management software, whatever programs is utilized to maintain that government entity's financial information. You working in a food pantry, or let's just say it's some random cook works in the cafeteria. Do not just arbitrarily go into the finance department or just because some dictator in chief of whatnot in her mind in her alternate reality, wherever she is, claims that you're the point of contact does not give you the legal right to go to the finance department or into a financial system and access invoices, payroll information, and other financial data that no board by law or local ordinances or rules or regulations has approved for you to access. Now, explain to me, why does Keith McChicken Nugget believe he's not in any legal trouble? Explain that to me. And why is anyone trying to defend and protect him? I've been saying this whole time his job is absolutely unnecessary because even the FBI wants to know what the hell he does, along with many others. Why do you have a Robert Hunt Jr. as a finance director if you allowed a food pantry manager? His job was supposed to keep up with food in a pantry, to sit here and handle over 400 invoices, 400 pieces of paper dealing with sensitive financial data without any board approval, and that not being a part of his job duties, job title in any capacity, dealing with finance or accounting of any of the sort. And people get upset with me when I say that he was utterly useless in every way. Oh, he had this coming. This video is long overdue. So today we're going to go over some information. Call him out on a couple of his dumbass lies. If you guys have not seen my post on the channel, I posted up part of a response he sent on the Lansing Journal's article where he thought he was going in on somebody. I laughed. It was funny. We're going to go over the protection order, some of the documents that I do have that was ordered and signed by a judge in a court of law that he does not override. That was filed against one of the trustees, Carmen Carlisle, and a lawsuit from Jarrell Jones, former employee that worked in the food pantry. And you guys will see a pattern of behavior in court documents that outlines the depravity and the disrespectful, disgusting, deplorable, egregious behavior of Keith the Hamburglar. And this is in court documents. So let's get started. I want to start off with a couple of YouTube videos, both of which were Thornton Township board meetings. One of them, the first one being a meeting where Trustee Gonzalez asked about his job title because, we're all confused as to what exactly he did. And more importantly, what did the Board of Trustees agree and approve for him to do? And of course, super stupid, getting an attitude and throwing her little hissy fit that no one cares about. Thank God it was voted out and rejected and denied on all levels between being mayor of anything and supervisor of anything. The voters said, hell no, kiss our ass and go to hell. So we bless God that she's no longer going to be the mayor or the supervisor. If she goes and runs for any school board position and those people vote for her to be that, then whatever comes their way, that's what they're deserving of. Because there is no way they missed her becoming a global phenomenon for all the wrong reasons, becoming America's worst mayor, and still decide, oh no, she'll be a good fit over here on the school board with children. There's no way. If all the lawsuits filed against her is not enough to deter you all from not voting for her to be in anything dealing with a school board, then hell has to freeze over, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. So, yeah, we're going to get started on this. You guys, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you're enjoying the work coming out of here at Lady Luck Club. You guys, I go on the facts and evidence. I'm going to give my commentary. I'm going to give my opinion. If you don't like it, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. This is not the video feed. You don't have to agree with me on everything, but facts are facts. And Keith McNugget is an asshole. And he has a lawsuit against him. I mean, my God. You would think just something that he would want resolved, but whatever. We'll go over it. I've gone over it before, and I was like, wow. Oh, Lord have mercy. So this is going to be interesting. Let's get some music going, and then we're going to go ahead into the video here. I'm just going to only play certain portions of these videos just for the sake of brevity with the videos stuff. I don't want the video to be too long, but let's get to it.
Mr. Price's title, and was he board for that title?
Yes. What?
What's the
You already
title?
know his title.
No, I didn't.
Tell everybody.
No,
Tell everybody. So anyway, what else? I'm not.
And you're saying you was board for that?
Just told you he does. So
So you were a little while ago when we were talking about employee information. I mean, that's kind of sensitive stuff. I mean, if he's not been board approved to be over general fund, he shouldn't have access to that
what are you
information.
talking about? Over general fund. He ain't got no.
Every time we're talking about general fund right now, when you keep referring to
He's doing. Let me be crystal clear. I just told Carmen that.
Please do.
He's doing the exact same thing Keith Freeman was doing. Y'all went to Keith Freeman for everything. It's not.
The Keith Freeman was the special assistant to the supervisor, Dum dictator in chief, and he had board approval, did he not, to be that? Which meant that he had the authority legally to access sensitive financial data. That includes payroll information. That includes information about contracts with vendors and how much they were getting paid, budget reports, and those types of things, invoices. Why in the world would a food pantry manager need to have access to that crap? This is how stupid she is. And you all see and wonder why I call her super stupid. I'm not going to stop calling her that. You know why? Because it fits exactly her demeanor and her mentality, her thought process, her responses. I mean, the fact that she speaks broken English and can't do math or read, it's more reason than enough to call her that. I don't really care to dignify her existence on earth by saying her name. I don't owe her that. I have no respect for her. I think that should be obvious, and I've said that 1,000 times. This is appalling that she sits here and thinks it's okay for him to have the legal access to financial data, to sensitive financial data like payroll information, and was never board approved for it. He's a food pantry guy. He counts loaves of bread and eggs. He should be worried about expiration dates on milk and cheese, or why food boxes are just sitting outside for hours at a time so that super stupid can have a publicity stunt. That is all he was worth. He certainly was not worth the salary that he got paid either. It was well over $70,000 to monitor the food. Yeah, okay.
So that's my answer. It's a motion.
It's a dumb answer.
In a second.
Trustee Jones.
Wow.
Trustee Gonzalez.
Yes.
Trustee.
Okay, that's the part of this video I wanted to play because Chris Gonzalez could have pushed back a lot more. I think the other trustees should have chimed in. The attorney definitely should have stated that if he's not approved, by the board according to local ordinances to access this information, he should not have access to it. And he should not be sitting here being referred to as the point of contact or be treated on any equal playing field with Keith Freeman, who was a village administrator and special assistant. So why couldn't the attorney say that? Nobody had a backbone is what you're telling me in these meetings. This is why I can't sit and watch them all. She's insufferable. And I just wish they would have had a bigger spine. But I mean, he gave a little pushback. Kudos to you on that. All right, let's go to the next video here. And I just wanted to go to this video here just to simply show a bit of the speech and how McFrosty talks to people. I have no respect for him either, especially when he's more disrespectful and disgusting to women as a grown big man than he is with other men. And yet other men think there's nothing wrong because, I haven't experienced anything from like that from him because you're a man. You're a man. If he on average does not treat other men that way, of course you're not going to get that. But yet, even when he gets this little pissy attitude and he's on his menstrual cycle, he's still disgusting. I implore you all to check out the interview he did on Jedediah's live stream. It was annoying. Goons or not, that's easy. Yes, he's a goon. He's a goon that has lawsuits against him and a protection order. No one's going to talk about that? Oh, I am. We're doing it.
Residents, Board of Trustees. As Robert stated, first of all, I want to be real clear. Robert doesn't really like the conflict that's going on. I don't like it either because once you start saying people aren't giving you things, you're saying
Robert is grown.
I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do as well. And I take that personally. This is 2 weeks ago, as Robert stated, he emailed the trustee everything she wanted. She had a problem downloading. Robert said, hey,
Here's the bottom line. He should not even be involved in this conversation. He's a food pantry guy. You shouldn't even be involved in the conversation, you moron. And now you have your hands on sensitive financial data you should have never even been bothered with because no other previous food pantry manager had access to financial records, payroll information, and invoices because that was not a part of their job title. This is just maniacal and chaos at its finest hour. She didn't even want to confirm that he was just a food pantry guy. And yet, he's standing here speaking on behalf of the finance director who gets paid way more money than he does. Where's Robert E. Hunt Jr. again? Because that whistleblower act is not going to protect you if the FBI still decides to bring an indictment upon your head, which I hope to God they do. Because you got to comment Robert E. Hunt Jr., and I've already done a video on him. Why is a food pantry guy standing there saying things that you should have said and you find it disrespectful because you sent over 400 pages? Naturally, most people would not be able to download that. Why was that not sent on a drive or some sort, or as a zip file or information you just broken down and just sent a little bit over at a time? What the hell is wrong with you? That could have been a link to a shared drive or something where all that information was stored. What kind of financial system software program are they using here? Why she didn't have access to this stuff is baffling to me. Why is it that only Robert E. Hunt had access to it? But if you're talking about the trustees paying some invoices and bills, why couldn't they see this? Why couldn't they just be able to log into the financial system and see that? I don't think this would be a discussion if they could. Because who the hell will want to sit here and listen to super stupid run off at the mouth? As insufferable as she is, if they could just simply look it up for themselves, I think all of them would want to have the opportunity to do that and avoid all this buffoonery. But yet, he printed it out, all that waste of paper.
You can't.
So many trees wasted.
I said 60 ILCS states that if she wants to review bills and invoices, she is to set up a meeting with the clerk I said, print it off. He said,
It's funny how he thinks he knows laws when he should not even have lawful access to the documents in the first place, nor should he be a part of this conversation. No one reported him yet? Has he not been reported yet? He should be. He should be reported. The trustees went too soft on this. They should have already passed a resolution to ensure, unless your job title requires you to access financial data, and I mean, you would think it would be obvious, right? Because local ordinances do cover that. But, whatever. And state statutes. But if your job title does not permit you to access certain sensitive data, like financial data and payroll information and invoices and RFPs and those types of things, you do not access it. You don't get your hands on it. You're not supposed to have it. You're not supposed to be copied in an email. Robert E. Hunt Jr., as the finance director, you're sending out something as a part of requested information to the press, or even if you are unable to fulfill the request and then have to direct the Lansing Journal to do a foyer for it, you do not copy the food pantry manager in on that email. You imbecile. This is why I keep saying he's in trouble. Oh, good grief. I'm not sparing them anything. They're grown-ass men that know how to read and should know better.
Print it off, I'll give it to the clerk. Trustee came in. I just got this file from the deputy clerk. If you didn't see Mr. Moore, walk over there and grab it. This is the file that was printed out for her. Over 400, all the invoices, everything she asked for, everything. This is not small.
And he should not be touching.
Trustee Carlisle has been sending a plethora of emails. Ever since I've known Trustee Carlisle, she has communicated with me via text message from when she was setting up box giveaways to currently when I asked her, hey, trustee, and I sent all the trustees the same message. Is there anything you want to discuss, got a problem with the upcoming meeting so we can discuss it and not look like a fool for the public? I get an email saying I'm harassing her because I asked her that, but I'm trying to be transparent and give her what she wants. These are all the bills that she picked up, walked away from the clerk's office, came back and gave them back to—
Why would he need to say that I got an email about harassing her? Why would you even mention that? Why mention that part? Because you're a clown. Just because you're a McFrosty doesn't mean you have to just somehow be devoid of a brain. What was the purpose in saying that? None. Just to be messy. Messiness. Okay. Yeah, he's about as insufferable as Superstar.
No one is hiding a damn thing.
Mm-hmm. And I told profanity. I can use profanity on my channel, but wow. In a board meeting?
I don't know why this is occurring. I have my personal reasons why I believe it's happening.
Who cares?
But these are all the invoices that she requested, that was given to the clerk, that she chose to give back to the clerk. And it's important information in here. And I'm going to give it back to Robert.
And how many meetings did she—
Oh, I'm so glad he says important information that a food pantry guy should not ever have access to. And Robert E. Hunt, why didn't you just say, no, bro, no, stop right there. Why do you have that stuff? No, hell no. You shouldn't even have that. So, one wuss can't correct another wuss because laws. What was the reason to allow him to even have access to that? He literally did not have to be in this meeting and he would have been null and void and irrelevant because he's a food pantry guy. That could have been said and done by Robert E. Hunt, the guy who actually gets paid 6 figures to do what the trustee has asked, and that was to send it to her via email. No, what they wanted was for her to have to call them, set up a meeting, do stuff in person and verbal. Nope, unless I'm recording y'all asses, I don't have to. This is a local government entity. Y'all are supposed to be behaving professionally here. Everything you do should be over an email anyway. You should want to cover your ass and have this stuff in writing. Why do you want to force verbal conversation so that it can end up being my word versus yours? That's it. Because dirtiness. They're ridiculous. He's ridiculous for thinking that somebody owes him a conversation. Laughable. The food pantry guy.
She canceled approximately 15 meetings. We set up meetings with the staff on several.
The food pantry guy should not even be saying half of that crap. All right, let's move on. Food pantry. You are food pantry and nothing more. Good grief. So here's the Lansing Journal. This is dated October 8th, 2024. Melanie Jangsma. I don't want to say her last name again. I'm just gonna say Melanie, if you guys don't mind, just to avoid butchering her name because I don't want to mispronounce it. So this is an article that they did on October 8th, and there was a quorum that was not conducted because of the safety concerns that you just heard him allude to regarding harassment, right? So it says here from the desk of Thornton Township trustees Carmen Carlisle, Christopher Gonzalez, we regret to inform the public and media that there will be no quorum at tonight's scheduled board meeting for 10/8/24. The decision follows unresolved safety concerns that were raised at 9/24/24 meeting regarding the safety of resident staff and officials. Despite numerous attempts to address these issues with the supervisor's office, we have yet to receive a response regarding the safety plan that is essential for ensuring a secure environment for all attendees. It is our priority to make informed decisions that prioritize the well-being of our community. We will announce a new date for the rescheduled meeting. Thank you for your understanding as we work to ensure the safety of everyone involved. Sincerely, Thornton Township trustees. Let's not forget, Thornton Township trustees are not hired and fired by Super Stupid or any supervisor in that position. They are elected. They serve as the legislative board. That means they don't really owe her shit. They certainly don't owe her or the food pantry guy an explanation on a damn thing. They just don't. Funny how he tried to escalate himself higher up the totem pole where he did not belong. Come back down there to the loaves of breads where you dwell. He has a bad attitude, nasty demeanor. And there are more than enough board meetings recorded on videos that the world has seen to support why I have no respect for him. Absolutely deplorable and disgusting. She couldn't keep one solid person around her to tell her the actual truth and not to just be a yes man because she's a narcissist. The rest of them seem to kind of behave the same way. Yeah. The memo was shared via email and social media on Tuesday afternoon, October 8th. I'm just going to skim over this. YouTuber Rico Hudson of Reality Check TV Chicago was there to live stream the full meeting, including the moment of service. So the super server walked up to Super Stupid and basically served her. It was a federal lawsuit from the United States District Court, Northern District of Illinois. And thank you much. You've been served. And that's when she said, I get sued all the time. Y'all stop. Oh, okay. So yeah, you wonder why insurances wasn't renewed because she was uninsurable. And the insurance company said, we will renew the policy for Thornton Township minus your dumbass supervisor. Oh no, we're not insuring her. And they're not obligated to do so. The insurance company have the right to say, we've assessed the risk of insuring someone on this policy, and we've determined that they are a greater liability than they are an asset. We want her ass off, and then we will renew the policy. Or y'all can go shopping somewhere else. Good luck to that. And that's what happened. It was just that simple. And I went over that in the video, and documentation was provided from the insurance company as well. And they also made a statement. They don't have to insure anyone. It's a private organization. But they had determined that Super Stupid Tiffany Aisha Henyard was uninsurable. She was too much of a risk because of all the lawsuits that she doesn't mind getting, I guess. Because she gets them all the time. That's what she said out of her mouth. So, of course, they had some meetings that, naturally, she just ignored the concerns of the trustee. And, the trustee did what she had to do. Carmen Carlisle had to eventually go and file for a protection order against Keith McNugget. All right. So aside from them questioning the expenses and, what she was wanting to get approved on the budget, trying to rush things through, we all know she can't read or do math. I'm going to share this tab here. Let's go up. Got to a point where, once again, Keith Price, a.k.a. the Hamburglar, invoked himself into a matter and tried to be more important than he really is. So he penned this letter, submitted it off regarding a meeting to get the insurance renewed because, they kept harping on that. even though they didn't want to admit, the insurance company did not want to renew the policy because of Super Stupid being a liability and a greater risk that they are not obligated by anyone or law to insure. They are a private organization. They owe them nothing. So it states that Dum Dum scheduled a special meeting for this Monday at 5 p.m. at Thornton Township headquarters to renew essential insurance policies that expire on December 1, 2024. Trustee Carlisle and Gonzalez and was it too much to do spell check? Gonzalez has stated that they will not attend. This is why food pantry guys should not be writing letters like they're the finance director. Missing the November 26th 6th renewal deadline and will leave the township without protections vital to his operations. These insurance policies ensure the continuity of essential services like senior programs and community safety, while he ignores the trustee's safety. The irony and hypocrisy of it all. What a clown he is. So, property insurance, general liability insurance, violent event response insurance. Yeah, because the trustee had to get a order of protection against him. These policies are not optional. Yeah, but Super Stupid being on the policies is optional. And the insurance company said the same thing. So that was why they did not want to renew it. They needed her to be removed off of the policy in order to have it renewed. She's the reason why Thornton Township did not get the insurance policy renewed in a timely manner, because they refused to insure her. But no. She wanted to keep grinding off of the backs of taxpayer voters and stuff, and just had to somehow not go get her own damn insurance. It's too hard for her to do, because lack of reading and recognizing numbers. No, can't do that. Okay. Their absence would jeopardize our community's well-being. Never mind the trustee that had an actual order of protection against. We need your help to ensure trustees attend Monday's meeting and fulfill their duties. So you're going to force it or what? What are you going to do? Be intimidating and threatening? Because that's all you know how to be, aside from, making sure that seasonings are putting in a box. That was your job. Contact your trustees today and demand they act in the community's interest. Never mind the fact Super Stupid was uninsurable. So he put Trustee Carmen Carlisle's Thornton Township email address and Trustee Christopher Gonzalez Thornton Township email address, and then had his personal email address, but it was redacted. Thank you, Lansing Journal. To the trustees, the community is watching. Yeah, we all watched and we all saw how you and Super Stupid deceived the public by falsely stating that the trustees not showing up somehow was going to delay or deter the insurance policies from being renewed. But never mind the simple fact that the insurance company had already said that Super Stupid isn't uninsurable and we will not cover a policy with her on it. She has too many damn lawsuits that she enjoys getting, I guess, because she thinks she's above the rule of law. Laws, they don't apply to her. So to the school board, if you know that she was uninsurable in Thornton Township or in the village of Dalton, why the hell would you want to hire her again? Make sense to me. Because, like I said, if they decide to do this, knowing all of this is out there, then they deserve whatever happens to them. You deserve it. The children don't, but the dumbass adults that make that decision do. Yes, you will deserve whatever comes your way. She's going to misappropriate a lot of money. All right. So then they have here contact Keith Price email. He has a Gmail email on here, and then there's a phone number. I'm not going to read it out loud, but you all can see it. I mean, just imagine a dash after the first three numbers. That's his phone number that was there. He put that in a letter because he's so bold and all. He's stupid. So this is what really got me here. Let's go down here to the comment section. This is what I posted up on my channel yesterday, just to kind of give you guys a heads up of what I was working on here. And this is from Paul Roberts. He stated on November 23, 2024 at 10:01 a.m., I find the trustees Gonzalez and Carlisle better informed on the township's insurance policies than a food pantry manager who was promoted to the number 2 position in the township without board approval, because you will not find in any meeting agenda or meeting minutes Keith McNugget actually getting a board approval for a promotion to be whatever Keith Freeman was, who's now indicted and facing what? Bankruptcy fraud charges. Oh, he has it coming. He's going to get a superseding indictment. He's going to prison. Yeah, no, you got it coming. You got it coming. You got it coming, Freeman. So Trustee Gonzalez voted to keep insurance in place on October 30th. Mr. Price does not mention that Trustee Carlisle is still concerned about for her personal safety if she attends a meeting in person when he is present. Mr. Price does not mention that the agenda for Monday's meeting and the last two non-meetings included a lucrative no-bid contract to an insurance broker whose business in the south suburbs has grown considerably due to Michael Madigan's son as an executive there. Mr. Price does not mention any of Super Stupid's other items on Monday's agenda, such as unspecified bonuses for all township employees or the extravagant proposed budget they voted against in May, this being May of 2024. Finally, Mr. Price does not mention that Trustees Gonzalez and Carlisle's township email is monitored and often blocked by the administration because they were doing that. Keith Freeman had people locked out over there in the village of Dalton from the financial software program. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the meeting minutes that the village clerk was typing up and actually creating were not being approved. So you guys can go on that fact-finding mission to the goons. Since you love looking at warrant lists, why don't you look at the actual meetings and look at the meeting minutes where prior meeting minutes were not being approved by Super Stupid because reasons. Oh, because she thought that they were court reporters and they were to record every word she said, which is not their job duty. Funny how just a little bit more reading and research gets you to the place where you need to be and not kissing her ass and trying to defend her, talking about everything's her fault. Yeah, everything she's done wrong is her fault. She's a grown-ass woman. Grow up and get over it. Oh, I said I was going to be savage in this, and I meant it. I mean it. I'm going full savage mode because I just don't believe in grown folks sitting here trying to curtail the accountability and what the consequences of her actions are. Being that she's another whole grown person, Ewok, alien, whatever, and she doesn't pay their bills. Funny how those goons feel like they need to protect her. Maybe she does pay their bills. I mean, that could be the case because they love assuming that, trustees paid everybody else's bills and payola and gave everybody else money. Maybe she's paying their bills because otherwise, not even God himself can understand why do you keep defending her? What the heck is going on here? What's going on here? Yeah, okay. So, let me scroll down a little bit more. You'll see Keith McFrosty showed up in the dang on, y'all, his response is something else. It's stupid still, but whatever. At 11:27 a.m. on November 23rd, he stated, Mr. Roberts, regardless of what's on the agenda. No. The agenda is important. What we all go by when we're having these meetings. Those agendas have to be approved, do they not? So it does matter. See, when you're the food pantry guy, we don't expect you to know more than, how many slices of bread is in a loaf. Or how many chickens are down there in the freezer. Give away or not give away on Mother's Day. Whatever happened to that one again? No, okay. As a trustee, TOU, because spell check, have the right to vote no to any unwanted motions. Yes, they do. They also have the right to not show up because of safety concerns, especially when one of them has an order of protection against your dumb ass. Yeah, okay. Then he says a lot of hoopla. I'm not going to read it all because it's just laughable. Oh, the fact that he couldn't spell Zuccarelli as well, kind of, wasn't he some sort of elected official and he owes somebody some money to? Just like Freeman. Freeman, you still owe the village of Robbins over 90 grand. When are you going to pay that money up? Hey, Keith McChicken Nugget, you owe money. You owe money. This is why you can't run for elected positions again. How could anyone support this nonsense? Just because you haven't been disrespected by this man does not mean you should support his wrongdoing. Just call him out and call him wrong when he's wrong and be done with it and sleep peacefully. Is it that difficult? Birds of a feather flock together. That's the saying. It's wisdom. And it's true. as far as security, I will read this. As far as security, I will personally give the Lansing Journal emails to prove all concerns were met if they call me. You're going to email them or call them? I mean, what? You're going to email them and say what? Call me and then I'll give it to you? They don't owe you a phone call. Who the hell will want to talk to you on the phone after seeing your nonsense at a board meeting? Hell no, we're not talking on the phone. No, Nick, you will email me and we will have everything in writing. What the hell? Or just send me the emails. You don't have to call me. Funny that he thinks somebody owes him a phone call. You know, the audacity. So Melanie hopped in. Good for her. At 12:15 p.m. on the same day and said, Mr. Price, thank you for offering to provide the emails documenting that all security concerns have been met. Could you forward those to info@thelansingjournal.com? Thank you. Yeah, you tried her. She said, oh, okay. We love FAFO too. Yeah, here's how you spell Zuccarelli. Who's deceased? My good Lord, why do they keep pivoting to someone that is deceased and unable to defend themselves? Because that's what cowards do. The food pantry guy could have just stayed out of the situation. You're not important. Oh, savage is just not describe what I am right now. But I am on savage mode. Michael A. Smith, who knows nothing, then chimed in the next day at 8:06 a.m. Ms. Taylor, please read the statute regarding attending meetings by Zoom or phone. There are statutes where there are exceptions. There are also local ordinances that outline even the more exceptions to being in meetings via Zoom and by phone. So even when she tried to come into the meeting by phone, Super Stupid didn't want her to. So now what? Dum-dum, you still know nothing. Hell out of here. There's something about weaponizing the Bible. See, ridiculous. God said, leave me out of it. Ain't got nothing to do with that. Then McNugget shows back up again at 9:42 a.m. It's like they calling each other trying to figure, you know what? I just saw the comment down there. What did you say? I said this, bro. Oh, okay. I'm going to say this. And then they just kind of bouncing off each other. So let's just focus on this part right here. Restraining order. The trustee filed this false restraining order. False restraining order? You all, do you understand what the definition of the word false is? You know what? For fun, I'm going to look it up. I don't think Keith McNugget knows the definition of the term false. Because why would you use that word in that? Knowing that there's an order of protection that actually exists in this reality here on Earth. I mean, I'm at a loss for words right now. Is he serious? Okay. So false. Because here you go, Keith McChicken Nugget. Here's what false means. Just like many people need to be looking up the words negative and hatred or hate. Because those words are constantly being used out of context when people are trying to deflect or deter away from accountability. So if you say anything that someone doesn't like, all of a sudden you're being negative. No, it's not negative. How do you hold someone accountable if you can't point out the very fact of what they did being wrong or unexplainable? How do we start with accountability if you can't even vocalize the problem? But it's negative if you do, depending on who you're talking about and who hears it. Because reasons. Because words. No one understands definitions of terms. Okay, got it. False. Not according with truth or fact. Incorrect. Appearing to be the thing denoted. Deliberately made or meant to be to deceive. Not actually so. Man, look how many. And then you see how the term false is used. Not genuine and not true. Let's go with that. So he's saying, when he says false here, he's saying not genuine or not true. So this is going to read a lot differently now because now people understand the definition of that word. The trustee filed this not genuine, not true restraining order as an attempt to stop me from speaking and pointing out her lies, as I will do when I send the Lansing Journal the emails about security. Did the Lansing Journal ever get those emails about security? I would love for Melanie to comment in the comment section of this video. And please tell me if you got those emails from Michael McChicken Nugget. Keep the chicken nugget. They're like one and the same. It's hard to separate them now. Birds of a feather. Keep the chicken nugget. Sending you those emails about security, or did he require that you sign an NDA and a phone call before he sent them? What a joke. Trustee Carlisle's not genuine, not true restraining order only forbids me. So he said that it was a not true, not genuine restraining order as an attempt to stop him filed. And then goes into this not genuine, not true restraining order and what it forbids him to do. He said it forbids, spell check, for BDS me to come within 100 feet of her home, which I've never been and care not to be. Because, broken English. This order clearly states, this order that is not genuine, this not genuine, not true restraining order now clearly states, I told you I was going to be savage. You goon. What a goon and a moron you are. Clearly states that the workplace is not a part of the order. Is it now? Do you want to bet your salary on that? Because I'm willing to bet your salary that you are false, deceptive, misleading, and a damn liar from the pit of hell. See, this is what happens when you challenge Lady Luck Club to a good time. And a good time being able to just pull up documents and prove your ass wrong on the spot. So, let's go. One of Trellis. Y'all, here's the case. But it's stalking no contact order that he said is false. Not true, not true, not genuine. Remember that definition of the word false? Yeah. Not genuine, not true. Here you go. Case details for Carlisle, Carmen are the Keith, Fee Price Keith. Last refreshed December 17, 2024. First filed on August 19th. The last actual activity that occurred with this was January 30th, 2025. So I'm assuming it's still going. May? Has it been resolved? I think it'll be resolved when he gets fired. Let's go down to the bottom here. Started on August 19th. This false restraining order. This not genuine, not true restraining order here. That is in court documents. That literally, to me, looks like it exists. Oh, Lord, there was a summons that was issued and returned. He's not even accepting the summons. So in his mind, I guess in his alternate reality, wherever super stupid is, if I don't accept the summons, then it's not real. Is that what you thought? I see petition for a stalking no contact order. Once again, order half sheet containing these are case notes. Summons returned on August 26th. Why weren't you accepting the summons? This is laughable. So no, this not genuine, not true. Oh Lord. Order stalking no contact order somehow was signed by a judge. Judge Koula. I don't want to butcher the first name. Fournier. Fournier. So whole judge. Oh, look, another judge here. Judge Aisha E. Gray. Yeah, I recognize that one. So Judge Fournier and Judge Gray, two judges involved in this case, entered on the docket. Somehow on this false, not genuine, not true, no contact order. Because they use words and then they don't understand the definitions of those terms. All right. So now you all knew I had to get it. You all knew I was going to get it. Since he's saying that this not genuine, not true, stalking no contact order was fraudulently, falsely filed. That's what he said. falsely filed. No, okay. See a case number there. The respondent is prohibited from threatening to commit stalking or committing stalking. Stalking, as is legally defined, means ongoing in a course of conduct directed at a specific person when you know or should know that this course of conduct would cause a reasonable person to fear for his or her safety or the safety of a third person or suffer emotional distress. Or, not and, or suffer emotional distress. If she would have said that this McFrosty of a man is forcing me to try to call him about something related to work as opposed to just answering my damn email, it's causing me emotional distress and I'm suffering from this. I can't sleep. I'm disturbed. I start shaking. I fear for my life, my safety. Look at how many times he's told me to call him, or he sent out these letters talking about make sure I'm demanded to show up at a meeting when I could just do a Zoom or phone call conference to the meeting. No, he wants me there in person. Why? Guess what? That's considered stalking. This is how the law defines it. This is how it's defined. When a reasonable person, so anyone with a brain, super stupid does not count. That Ewok of an alien can't read. You can't go to her and say, you know, is this course of conduct? What do you think about this? Don't ask her that. She's gonna be trying to pronounce terms like conduct. Like that, you're not gonna get past the first sentence. Super stupid, kiss my ass, soaking her goons. A stalking course of conduct includes acts in which you directly or indirectly, by any action, method, device, or means, follow, monitor, observe, surveil, threaten, or engage in other conduct, or interfere or damage a person's property or pet. Stalking can include contact via electronic communication. So all those text messages and all that you kept sending her, she said, stop, email me. At work, business emails, business information only. You talking about, oh, you're supposed to be following some statute that, you know what, has nothing to do with stalking. Especially when there are local ordinances that say that she could have called into those meetings or had a Zoom hearing. Because that's been done and it's been recorded in videos. Even Super Stupid has done it with her hypocritical ass. Yeah, let's not pretend like Super Stupid was never given the chance to call in to an actual board meeting. If given a legitimate reason. Why didn't that not apply to other people? Hypocrisy. See 740 ILCS 21/10 for additional definitions. So you can go to the law to see how the law defines certain terms. The respondent is prohibited from having any unlawful. You guys see this little triangle up here in the word unlawful circle, and then that initial there. That is from the judge. So the judge added in unlawful with petitioner and or, you know, there are no minor children involved. With Carmen R. Carlisle. A middle initial is R, right? Yeah, I think that's what I saw. The respondent is prohibited from knowingly coming within or knowingly remaining within 1,000 feet of petitioner's residence. You guys see that checked in number 3. He said 100. You know what? We'll take the 100. He didn't read it, but yeah, we'll take 100. Yeah, because the reasonable person will be like, look, he ain't got no reason to go around her now at this point. So yeah, we're fine with 100. That's reasonable to me. And then of course, I whited out her address that was there. I didn't want that to be shown. And then number 4, actual notice to respondent required. And you see the initials. The respondent is prohibited from remaining at respondent's own residence. And you see their place of employment. Said addresses are 333 East 162nd Street, South Holland, Township Offices, Thornton Township offices. Right. You see that there? So the work address was included. So what is he talking about? I see a work address. Is that not the address to the Thornton Township building? 333. I remember Nate having a hat with that. 333. East 162nd Street. South Holland. Thornton Township office. She originally wrote, I do not want him to come within 200 feet. And I don't blame him. And then I can't make out the rest at the bottom because it's crossed out. And the judge wrote over it. And I'm sure this was based on, you know, you have to file the petition first. That goes to the court. And once the court, the judge got a copy of it. You see the initials there, KAF. And that was Judge Fournier, Fournier. So KAF is the initials of the judge, which it should be, and would only be when it comes to editing the petition. The judge crossed it out and just kind of wrote, okay, let's include the work address. And it says here on the side, and respondent shall have no unlawful contact with petitioner. And then number 5 is circled. So y'all see these little lines here? I wish I could kind of, y'all see my little mouse just circling around it. So number 4 is, the box here is checked off. So is number 5. You see that? Number 5 is checked off, y'all. Let's zoom in there. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Number 5, you see that box is checked in. The respondent is prohibited from possessing a firearm owner's identification card or possessing or buying firearms. Do you have a gun? Do you have a gun? Do you have a gun? Keep a chicken nugget. Because if you do, you're violating this protection order. You're prohibited from possessing a firearm owner's identification card or possessing or buying firearms. And no, you're not supposed to be around her at 333 East 162nd Street, Thornton Township offices. That was included. The judge signed this. And since you don't care about laws, of course you didn't care about what the judge ordered in this protection order. He didn't say anything about not being able to possess a firearm owner's identification card or possessing or buying firearms either, because, you know, he's bigly mad and he didn't want to read this. Oh, Lord have mercy. You know, this false restraining order that's not genuine or true somehow just seems to be very legit. It was signed by a whole judge that went to law school and knows more law than you. Lord have mercy. So this was initially ordered on August 19, 24 at 3:12 p.m. And then, of course, they had a further hearing that was scheduled for September 9th at 9. This case still had activity going up to January 30th. I think it's still open. I have to look on the Cook County Circuit website to see what the case status is, to see if there's anything else going on there. But I think this is still going. It's funny how this happens. You know, it's funny. It's funny how he doesn't read. Yeah, no. Funny how he doesn't read. He don't read. Good grief. So if you guys see here, this is a very real, it's a very real order. It was entered and filed with the clerk of court August 19th, 2024. You see the little stamp there? Yeah. This makes this order illegal and invalid and effectuated on this date. It has to be signed by a judge and filed with the clerk of court. That is federal law. I'll let you Google that since you like to, you know, pretend like you know laws. Enjoy. This is insanity. this very false protection order is somehow very legitimate and real in documentation. Petition for stalking, no contact order. Oh man. And it's some notes that was taken during the I don't know if they had an arbitration. No, this is the original ex parte hearing. So when you have cases like, restraint orders, protection orders, regardless of what type of order it is, generally you have the law permits you to have an ex parte hearing where the petitioner stands before the judge and states the petition and claim and issues, and judge asks a series of questions, and the defendant does not lawfully have to be present. This is one of the rare cases that even up to federal law permits an ex parte hearing where the other party is not required by law to be present in the courtroom. And that is for any protection or restraint orders. I mean, if you're talking about a matter of safety here, the court should not be forcing both parties to look at each other or interact with each other or be around each other, right? The whole purpose of this is to get some safety, get some boundaries set up legally, because he didn't know how to stop making her try to call him or text or whatever, or kept trying to misquote and misabuse and misinterpret state law about meeting with a clerk. You're a food pantry guy. Take your ass back to the pantry where you belong. That was the only job that a board approved you to do. No matter how much a dum-dum who can't read told you you were special, you weren't. With your rude, disrespectful, and depraved ass. Oh, I said I was going savage. Because he lied about a whole protection order. He lied about the parameters of the protection order. Did anyone know he could not have a firearm or a card? An owner's identification card? Does anyone know that? Because if he does, he is violating the order. This is insane. So, respondent, of course, was not there. Ex parte. That's what ex parte here. You guys see that? That's what that means. Respondent works for Thornton. Petitioner is trustee for Thornton. No unlawful contact. No contact with petitioner residents. The Thornton Township address was clearly listed on there as well. And, there's some more notes for that case. And it looks like that there would have been a reserved hearing for February 5th, 2025 at 10:30 a.m. So, I mean, it had hearings being scheduled going up into February of this year, 2025. So for him to say that was just absolutely insane. You're talking about the epitome of lying. He lied like hell. How about that? He lied like hell. Let's get into this lawsuit. This is a lawsuit filed by Jarrell Jones, former employee there, that was forced to basically resign because of the conditions and the retaliation he experienced. So in the Circuit Court of Cook County, Law Division, case number 2024, L is in love, 005398, Jarrell Jones versus Thornton Township, the municipal corporation, and keep McNugget Price in his individual and official capacity, which is a good thing because preferably when he gets fired, and that should be epic, he'll still be obligated to the judgment because it's also in his individual capacity. So under the verified complaint, plaintiff claims through his counsel, Costado Law Group, against the defendants the following below. And I'm just kind of skimming over it for the sake of brevity. He resides in Cook County. Defendant Thornton Township is a public body located in Cook County. Defendant Keith Price is an individual residing in Cook County. Super Stupid is in Cook County. Keith Freeman is an individual in Cook County, was the supervisor of Thornton Township. She, of course, he was the special assistant. Sorry. Because she dare not share that title with no one. She was the supervisor up until tomorrow, thank God. And Keith Freeman was the special assistant until he flipped on her ass. All right. Background facts. Jones began working for Thornton Township in 2012 as a laborer. 2015, he began working in Thornton Township Food Assistance Center. And to give the address, in 2020, he became the workflow coordinator and supervisor in the food pantry. While employed with Thornton Township, Jones was a dedicated employee, enjoyed the work he did. He planned on staying there for the remainder of his career. I mean, why not? Work for a local government entity. Might as well stay there till you retire. After Super Stupid was appointed as supervisor in March of 2022, she installed her own allies with various roles at the township, including Keith McFrosty as food assistance program manager at the food pantry. That's quite a title. So one says he's a food pantry manager, another says he's food assistance program manager. So moving forward, we're just going to refer to it as FAP. Shortly after becoming the FAP, it became obvious to Jones that Price was there simply to root out employees because, dictatorship. Jones was frequently harassed, mistreated, and threatened by Price between March 2022 and January 2023. And Price routinely made rude, degrading, and unprofessional comments towards Jones and other employees. Does it sound familiar? I mean, if he's bold enough to do it in a board meeting in a video that is watched all over the world, leading up to the point where a trustee had to have a protection order signed by a judge about the clerk of court against his dumbass, I'm not shocked that he treated his own employees this way. But that lies the pattern of behavior. He didn't do this one time to one person. He did this to multiple people time and time and time and time and time and time again. Do you understand my point? This is not something that people should look over and somehow is being ignored, along with the legal ramifications of him accessing sensitive financial data when he was not approved by any board under any law to have the authority to do so. That's what's so mind-boggling. He thought he was important. Bless your heart. You weren't. So, aside from him doing this to Jones, filed a lawsuit against him, he did this to other employees as well. I wish to God they would speak up and perhaps join in the lawsuit. It will be epic. Additionally, since Price became the FAP, the food pantry began to experience a decline in overall quality and service to his clients. Now, we're talking about him being hired on between March 2022. So, in or around December 2022, Jones noticed that there were mice in the food pantry, which posed a health and safety risk to food pantry clients. Dear God, there were mice. Mice. In all the years that Jones had worked there, I'm sure he never saw mice. He never saw mice. Somehow, McFrosty shows up. The Hamburglar comes in smelling like cow meat, and then all of a sudden, the mice come out and play. So from March 2022 to December 2022, he had about 7-8 months where mice started coming around, posing a health and safety risk. In December 2023, which I don't like seeing. I'm gonna be honest. I do not like the fact that a whole year passed before it seems like there was any reporting of this being done. Now, could there have been reporting in the meantime? Yes. But why make it obvious to the court that a whole year passed by saying this? Jones reported finding the mice to Price. Mice and Price go together like birds of a feather that flock together. Like this is a year. So naturally the judge is going to ask, okay, why did it take a year? What happened? I'm sure part of that is going to be that Jarrell Jones felt he would be retaliated against because that's what Super Stupid and her goons do best. If not sit here and try to avoid and deflect, responsibility and accountability from her for reasons, because, she pays their rent. But you expect the retaliation. And that's unfortunate, and considering how he treated all of his employees there, where he was rude, degrading, and unprofessional. I mean, he was like that in board meetings to trustees that he was not of equal value to. So I'm not shocked. Let's just say that. On or about January 3rd, 2023, after realizing nothing was being done to remedy the situation, Jones reported the matter to Illinois OSHA, Division of the Illinois Department of Labor. CIL OSHA letter, response letter marked as Exhibit A attached. And it's not attached to this. So sometimes Charlotte's Law will attach the exhibits, but the exhibits is not attached to this, unfortunately. And I wanted to see it. Lord, I wanted to see it. But you can always, I'm sure that's something that can be FOIA'd to get a copy of the exhibits. Or you can pull the full court document here. I just went to Trellis. It came up for me. But Pacer would have the exhibits as well attached to the actual complaint. On January 17, 23, Illinois OSHA sent Jones a letter informing Jones that the food pantry had provided evidence that it had remediated the infestation, and thus Illinois OSHA considered the hazards Jones presented in his complaint to be corrected. See Exhibit A. So once again, more exhibits that is not attached to this, but would definitely be on file with the full complaint with the court. However, after learning that Jones had filed the complaint with Illinois OSHA, the mistreatment from Price towards Jones intensified. Because why? You want the mice there? Oh no. At the very least, your dumbass could have said, you know what? I didn't know the mice were here. Maybe they were here before I started, but let's get rid of them. Either way, who cares? Let's get rid of the mice because no one wants mice around food. The hell is wrong with you? This is disgusting. Mice in the food pantry. Y'all better keep saying y'all grace 3 times. My God. On or about February 123, while working at the food pantry, Price threatened Jones by stating something to the effect of, if he wanted to go outside, and that he was going to beat him up, an interaction that was witnessed by other pantry workers. And hopefully those pantry workers will go to court and testify and then tell Keith McNugget that Lady Luck Club said go to hell. Additionally, after reporting the mice infestation in the food pantry to Illinois OSHA, let's not gloss over the fact that Keith McNugget, whom we've all seen in that video, standing at the podium having a very difficult time standing, actually threatened to try to go beat someone up. How? You know what? You want to impress me? Why don't you run a full lap around the $1.3 million fake ice skating rink and then come back? And then if you're able to still breathe and not pass out or anything, then we can have a fight. Because otherwise, I'm going to call you bluff. I'm sure Jones laughed at that, but yeah, I highly doubt that would have been like a one-on-one thing. I'm sure Keith McNugget would have had some other people out there, including maybe Dalton Police, South Holland Police Department, because, they're just as jacked up as Dalton Police Department. Yeah, they would have been out there probably helping Keith McNugget, not caring about the mice that's in the food pantry. Fuck's sake. All right. Additionally, after reporting this mice infestation in the food pantry, gross, the Illinois OSHA, Jones was denied the ability to work overtime by Price, while others were given overtime, despite the fact that in the past, Jones was given overtime opportunities on other occasions. After filing his complaint, Price would scream at Jones in front of other pantry workers and clients. You grown man, you screaming at another grown man at work? Was he on his period? Someone should have asked him, you know what? I'm going to just take this as you being on your menstrual cycle, and I'm going to walk away. I told you I was going savage. On other occasions, after filing his complaint with the Illinois OSHA, Price would scream at Jones, the environment. Oh, God. I just can't believe I just read that twice because it's so unbelievable. He would scream at Jones in front of other pantry workers and clients. What kind of screaming was that? Yeah, was it like a screechy sound or something I would expect from a female? He has no problem disrespecting women more so than men, so whatever. The environment was so bad at the food pantry from January 23 and onward that employees would openly carry firearms. Well, I hope Keith McNugget McFrosty does not have one, because the order protection is being violated if he does. Perhaps somebody should just file a petition to the court just to make sure. because he's not going to be honest to save his life, nor will he read the definition of the term false. God. In January 23, a food pantry employee wrote on the chalkboard in the food pantry, "When I leave here, comma, everyone will die." What the hell? Why does everyone have to go? Just take the mice with you, okay? Don't take the humans. Not everyone doesn't have to die. Just the mice. Just the mice. Just the mice. One word. That's sad. That's almost like, why? It's unnecessary. Come on now. On or about April 3rd, 23, after fearing for his safety and being unable, my apologies, being unable to endure any mistreatment from McFrosty any longer, Jones quit the food pantry. I would have stayed there. He would have had to fire me. Where I got unemployment. You have to fire me. Kiss my ass. In that way, you fire me, I have a greater case. But I understand. All that emotional distress can lead one to want to have to do that. Especially after the length of time he worked there. That's crazy. Thornton Township has a well-settled and widespread policy of retaliating against employees and terminating their employment if they run afoul of Super Stupid or any of her allies, such as Price or Freeman, or if the employees attempt to report unethical acts. And this didn't just happen in Thornton Township. It also happened at the village of Dalton. So it's not, out of the realm of possibility that this was just kind of the culture of the depravity that she kept around her and that others perpetuated, like McNugget. Freeman is halfway in prison. So, and I say that because there's definitely going to be a superseding indictment coming his way. No way you escaping it. Not at all. Nope. As a result of the constructive termination, Jones suffered emotional and economic harm. Count one. So here's why you state a claim here. Okay? Just in case trying to file lawsuits, trying to do it pro se or whatever. Here's how you state a claim. You gotta have a count. You need to state the law being violated and perhaps some case law or precedents, not your own case, but case law and precedents has already been decided and ruled upon in court to support your claim. All right. So count one, common law retaliatory discharge. They reallege all the paragraphs preceding 1 through 25. Paragraph 26, Illinois has clearly mandated public policies in favor of protecting employees from retaliation after filing claims with the Illinois OSHA and Department of Labor. That's across the U.S., right? You file a complaint. The Whistleblower Act is a federal law, so you should not experience, retaliation for reporting unethical acts or, any issues such as mice, plural, mice being in food pantries around food that you're giving away. No one should want these food boxes now. Jesus. Illinois has a clearly mandated public policy in favor of preventing retaliatory acts occurring in the workplace, even though it doesn't always stop it. And then you would think the employers would just get a grip. Nope. Retaliating against Jones after he filed the claim with OSHA violated the clearly mandated public policies in favor of protecting employees from retaliation. Filing a claim with the Illinois OSHA Department of Labor. These are, government agencies. Come on. Jones has suffered a loss of income and insignificant emotional distress as a result of Thornton Township's retaliatory act. So this is what they're asking for. And this is going to be repeated in each count that they have in the filing. So he wants back pay and the amount to be determined at trial, compensatory consequential damages, including for emotional distress, punitive damages, pre and post judgment interest at the highest lawful rate, attorney's fees and costs, and any other relief the honorable court finds reasonable. Count two, violation of the Illinois Whistleblower Act. So the Whistleblower Act is federal law that each state adopts to become state law, and they put a state statute code in front of it and define it. So with the Whistleblower Act, they reallege paragraphs 1 through 30 and 130 and 31. The employer may not retaliate against an employee for disclosing info to a government or law enforcement agency where the employee has reasonable cause to believe that the information discloses a violation of a state or federal law, rule, or regulation. and that is supported with 740 ILCS 174/15 sub B. You would think that Keith McChicken Nugget knows this because he claims to know laws. You didn't know the Whistleblower Act? Did that go over your head, Hamburger? Because the definition of the term false definitely did. He can kiss my ass. I don't like him at all. Jones is an individual who was always employed on a full-time basis by defendants, relevant here too, and thus is an employee under the Whistleblower Act, and that is supported by 740 ILCS 174/5. So here are the state laws in Illinois that I hope all of you are becoming familiar with for my videos, where you can know how to defend yourself and you can prevent dumb things from happening that is a clear violation of law, because now you know the law and you can cite the actual statute code and be able to interpret it correctly. There you go. So the Hamburglar was acting within the scope of his express or implied authority on behalf of Thornton Township, being the food pantry manager. And then they cite the statute code again. Thornton Township is an employer as defined by the Whistleblower Act. January 3/23, Jones disclosed info regarding the mice infestation in the food pantry to the Illinois OSHA after defendants refused to take action a month prior. Information Jones had a reasonable cause to believe violated a state or federal law, rule, or regulation. It's one thing to say we didn't know. It's another thing to be informed of it and then you still do nothing. That's where you're violating the law, by not taking action. Because by law, you should take action, especially when it poses a threat to the health and the safety of the public, whom you're giving out these damn food boxes to that has Super Stupid's name printed all over it. Y'all still want to keep those food boxes in your house? Oh, good Lord, have mercy. Food boxes. So let's go down to the next count here. Like I said, I don't want to read over all of it, but you guys can always go on Trellis Law and look this up, or get a copy of the court document from the Cook County Circuit Court. It is there for your reading pleasure. Count 3, conspiracy under 42 USC statute 1983. That is federal law, United States Code. Conspiracy. So they reallege paragraphs 1 through 36 and 37. Defendants retaliated against Jones after he filed a claim regarding the mice infestation in the food pantry. And then Chicken Nugget threatened physical harm against Jones, which is laughable. Oh, man. And you can hear the guy breathing in the mic. It's like, hey, who you going to fight again? He wasn't going to fight. And he better not have a weapon, because now you're violating that order of protection. Oh, man, epic. Epic if he gets a petition to violating the order filed against him. Because I'm sure he would never tell anyone that, but he probably does. But I'm sure he would never tell anyone. The only way to know that, they would have to go search his house. I'm just saying. Or someone sees it on him. Someone has seen it on him. Or maybe his wife tells on him. Who knows? I don't know. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Trying to lie about that. So when he filed the complaint, the conspiracy is that, he was threatened physical harm. He was denied overtime when he had, been granted it in the past. And it was a hostile work environment created to the point where he needed to quit in order to maintain his personal safety. I mean, if people are coming to work with firearms, can you blame them? Especially when, the food pantry manager being ordered to not have one or even an identification card, nor can he buy one. You can't buy it, possess it, or have a card for it, because that order of protection said, no. So since he doesn't read well, I'm sure he ignored that. Defendants made an agreement to retaliate against Jones after he filed his claims within the Illinois OSHA. There was an actual deprivation of his rights arising from overt acts in furtherance of the agreement. So, of course, we all know that Super Stupid is very vindictive and retaliatory. Thornton Township has well settled in widespread policy of retaliating. We read that several other former Thornton Township and Village of Dalton employees, besides Jones, have been terminated or forced to quit by Super Stupid, Freeman, and or McNugget for similarly dubious and spurious reasons within the last few years, including but not limited to Lavelle Redmond, Cheryl Collins, Sandra Tracy, never heard of her, Bruce Owens, never heard of him, Karen Jones, she has a lawsuit, and Samisha Williams, she has a lawsuit, and her lawsuit is something else. We're gonna go over that one. So, of course, they're asking for the judgment again, and count 4, common law intentional infliction of emotional distress. So they reallege paragraphs 1 through 42. 43 states defendant's conduct described above was truly extreme and outrageous and goes beyond all possible bounds of decency. I mean, you guys hear how, McNugget talks. Accessing financial data he shouldn't be accessing. No one being able to really define his job title. Yeah, it definitely goes beyond any level of decency or logic. He has an order of protection against him. Seriously. Additionally, defendants committed these acts while acting in a position of authority to Jones, which makes the acts de facto extreme and outrageous. Because they were working. Then you have case law cited, the graphic v. Fahey, F-A-H-E-Y. I can't pronounce that. It's someone's last name. And this is a case from 1988. Defendants either intended that their conduct would inflict severe emotional distress or knew that there was at least a high probability that their conduct would cause severe emotional distress when they retaliated. They don't care about that. Super Stupid doesn't care about getting lawsuits. So, until it starts hitting her in the pockets, that's when she'll start caring. Thornton Township needs to try to recover as much money as they can and get her check garnished. Especially when there's a possibility of her having some assets in houses, cars, land, property. Yeah, get all that back and sell it and get that money. Don't let her get away with it, because then you just kind of perpetuating that nonsense. And then the next supervisor, and then the next supervisor comes along. They keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, because everybody keeps claiming that all the supervisors and all the mayors in the village of Dalton and all the supervisors of Thornton Township were allegedly corrupt. Why was nothing happening to ensure that they understood? Don't go over there and be supervisor. They're going to garnish your paycheck. You got to send a message. And it might not be one that they won't like it, but the next person will know and understand moving forward. Don't F around and find out in Thornton Township. That's how it should be. Get her check garnished and get some of this money back. Stop letting her getting away with stuff. Defendant in a tort case must take his plaintiff as he finds him, even if he is more susceptible to injury than the average person. Basically, the defendant has to look at the matter and say, you know what? If this is the damage and the injury caused or inflicted upon the person, even if there is more injury that they're susceptible to beyond the average individual, meaning that the distress that was inflicted upon him being more than the average person have to deal with in their job, I have to take it as I find them to be, as I see it. So you can't say, well, there could be a possibility they incurred this damage here, but what if they did anything else outside of this that perpetuated it? Doesn't matter. It's all about what the defendant inflicted upon that plaintiff and the evidence and the law that was violated and the evidence to support their claim, their statement of claim here. And then that can be further interpreted and defined in the case law cited. You got Zerba v. United States, and this is a 2001 case. Then you have Reed v. Union Pacific Railroad Company. This is a 7th Circuit case from 1999. And then you have Colonial Inn Motor Lodge versus Gay. And this is an appellate case. APP is appellate. from 1997. So you can look at case law and it'll help you to understand what that means as far as tort and how that's applied so that you can have an understanding of what to expect when they go to court. The attorneys will definitely understand. But I'm sure the argument is going to be presented like, he chose to quit. That could have caused himself more emotional damage and blah, blah, blah. No, he ain't had no choice but to quit. He'd be going to work and people carrying firearms and he's being retaliated against. He's been denied overtime pay. He's having to deal with the thought of mice in the food pantry. So now he's got his physical health to look after. What if a mice jumps out and bite his ass? Then what? So you got to take them as you find them. You can't worry about any outside factors that may make this worse. It's all about what was induced upon him from the defendants. Boom, shakalaka. All right. And then, of course, the request for judgment is stated again. And it's being filed by Matthew R. Costardo. And you guys see ARDC. This is the bar license number here, 06329-579. It's something I expect to see next to the attorney's name. Oh, God. So the verification of statement is basically a sworn statement under the penalty of perjury that you declare that these statements made are factual and true and accurate to the best of your belief and personal knowledge, except where expressly indicated otherwise. There you go. Boom, shakalaka. Man, this is something else. So, as far as this is concerned, Keith Chicken Nugget didn't care about anything or anyone but himself. Oh, and pleasing super stupid for some dumb reason. But he certainly didn't care about the safety of others. There's a whole order of protection against him. I don't understand how anybody could even try to go to defend this nonsense. And I don't care what he's been in the past. It doesn't change the fact that there's a pattern of behavior. And it's being shown in court documents. Yes, he's going to have to go to court and defend himself, but that order of protection was granted. It is what it is with that. You got people causing, it's sitting here going to court saying that you're forcing them to talk to you on the phone or here's the law and this and that when you're not even supposed to be a part of the conversation. You're the food pantry guy. That's it. That's all you were. I hope to God tomorrow Napoleon Harris will be sworn in as supervisor of Thornton Township. I personally wanted Nate Fields to win. The end. That's my opinion on that, and I'm sticking with it. But Napoleon won. Anybody better than super stupid, I'm okay with it. So hopefully Keith Chicken Nugget will be terminated if he's not already gone. The audacity for him to think that he's still supposed to have a job when I highly doubt he read that order in its entirety, especially the part about having a firearm. So no one should be forced to work in an environment where you're talking about this level of hostility and what they displayed on national television as well. Super Stupid put on a show every time she got outside in front of a camera. She became a global phenomenon for all the wrong reasons because of her behavior. Goons and the morons are going to say, oh, it's all her fault. Well, yeah, for the things she's done wrong, it is her fault. And if it turns out to be everything, then so be it. What the hell? She doesn't pay your bills. Well, maybe she does. Let me stop saying that. Maybe she does pay these people's bills or give them money to sit here and deter and deflect all day. Because it seems like that's all they do. They definitely don't read. But this is what Keith the Chicken Nugget chose to do. He could have at any time said, no, I don't agree with none of this you're doing. He didn't have no problem trying to allegedly look out for her in the melee. What are you doing? No, what are you doing? You didn't stop her any other time from all the other nonsense and the buffoonery that she put on. The clown show in every meeting. You're in there yourself cussing at trustees, using profanity, never having apologized for it, as if somehow you think you're justified. You walking hamburger. I don't care how he feels about any of this. And this is my channel, I get to use profanity. But the truth of the matter is, this is a pattern of behavior. And it was cyclical. He did it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And he never stopped himself once. He never thought about this once. And obviously, he doesn't have any real friends around him telling him, you're wrong and you need to cut the crap. Cut this shit out and go sit down somewhere. Go home to your family. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are those? Mice infestation in the food pantry. Who would have thought I would have seen that in the court document? But you know what? Court documents I've read coming out of the village of Dalton and Thornton Township have blown my mind. Never cease to amaze me. It's just something else. Something else, y'all. All right. So, Kim Austin peed in the alleyway. All right. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. How deplorable these people acted. All because of Super Stupid. You hired these folks. This is the company you chose to keep. And because she chose a bunch of yes men around her, none of them had the spine or the backbone to tell her when she was wrong. That's why I don't take Keith McNugget seriously either. All right. You guys hit the like button on this video. Yes, I was savage, but I have to be. If I can't tell the truth on my platform, what can I say it? And no, I'm not going to sit here and say I have a dainty way of putting things, because I don't. These court documents are very serious, and they're to be taken seriously. And most of the things that people say to try to defend this nonsense, you will never say to a judge in a court of law. And if you do, please record it and post it up so we can all watch that. Understand why you've been held in contempt today. You guys subscribe if you're enjoying the content here in the Lady Luck Club, and consider becoming a member. I am still waiting on 500 responses for the poll that I put up about premiering that mysterious case with a twist. You all know you want to see it, but I definitely want to premiere it. I think it's a good one. We have more to come. Tomorrow, Napoleon Harris will be sworn in. Thank God. Someone else other than Super Stupid. Oh man. And I'm sure you guys are gonna want to tune in for that. So I will be going live tomorrow evening. But until the meantime, you guys enjoy your evening. Thank you so much for the support to all the members, subscribers, supporters, to all of the donations, cash apps, supers. I thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. It means a lot to me, more than you know. And until the next one, Lady Luck out. Deuces.